You know, we've all looked at a flower and thought, wow, that's beautiful. But today, we're going to peel back those petals and see it for what it really is, a high-tech, brilliantly engineered machine built for one of the most important jobs on Earth. So let's get into it and see what makes this thing tick.
I mean, just look at this diagram. This is less like a simple plant part and more like a detailed schematic for an engine, right? Every single component you see here, from the big, obvious petals to the tiniest little parts inside, has a super specific function. It's a perfect design honed by millions of years of evolution.
So, okay, if it's not just sitting there to look pretty, what is its actual purpose? What's its real mission? Well, it all boils down to one crucial point. A flower's ultimate job is reproduction. It's all about creating the next generation, ensuring the survival of its species. That is the entire game.
To really understand how it accomplishes this mission, we've got to look at its structure. We're going to start from the outside and work our way in, meeting the parts that act as the flower's crucial support team.
Okay, so a flower's anatomy is brilliantly organized. It's built in 4 distinct concentric layers, or whorls. Just think of them as rings, one inside the other. From the outside in, they have specific names. The calyx, the corolla, the androecium, and right there in the very center, the gynoecium. This 4-whorl setup is the fundamental blueprint for pretty much any flower you'll see.
Now, botanists split these 4 layers into 2 main groups. The outer 2 whorls are called the non-essential or accessory parts. Now, that sounds a little dismissive, but don't be fooled. They don't directly reproduce, but trust me, without them, the whole operation would completely fail. Their job is all about marketing and security.
First up is the corolla, which is really just a fancy name for all the petals. And you can think of them as the flower's huge, flashy advertising billboards. Their bright colors, their amazing scents, it's all designed to grab the attention of pollinators like bees, birds, and butterflies, basically shouting, "Hey, over here, the good stuff's inside."
Right underneath those petals is the calyx, which is made up of the sepals. You've seen these, they're usually the green, leaf-like bits at the base. Their job? They're the flower's bodyguards. Before the flower even blooms, the sepals wrap everything up in a tough, protective casing, shielding that delicate little bud from any harm until it's ready for the big reveal.
Okay, so we've met the support team. Now it's time to move inward to the essential parts, the ones that do the actual reproductive work, starting with the male components. So, this 3rd whorl is called the androecium. It's the technical term for all the male parts of the flower, all bundled together. The individual units that make up this androecium are called stamens, and you've definitely seen these. They're often those long, stringy structures sticking out from the middle of the flower.
Each stamen has a really simple but brilliant 2-part design. You've got the filament, which is just that long stalk. Its only job is to hold the anther way up high, making it super easy for a passing bee to brush up against it. And at the top of that filament is the anther. That's the pollen factory. It's where thousands of tiny pollen grains are made and released.
And here you can really see it in action. This is a close-up of an anther just bursting with pollen. Every single one of these microscopic grains is a tiny little package carrying the male genetic information needed to make a seed. The number of them is just staggering.
So we've seen how the pollen gets made. Now, where is it all supposed to go? For that, we move to the very heart of the flower, that 4th and final whorl to the female reproductive parts.
This innermost whorl is the gynoecium, or, as it's more commonly called, the pistil. Its location right in the center is no accident. It's the most valuable, most protected part of the entire flower. This is where the future seeds are going to develop.
The pistil itself has 3 parts, and each one has a very clear job. At the very top, you have the stigma. It's often sticky or feathery, making it the perfect landing pad designed to catch any incoming pollen. Below that is the style, which is the stalk connecting the stigma down to the ovary. And the ovary is that secure little nursery at the base, safely protecting the ovules inside. It's in those ovules that fertilization happens and seeds start to grow. So that's the basic blueprint, right? 4 whorls, each with a specific job. But nature loves to experiment. This fundamental design is modified in countless, incredible ways all across the plant kingdom.
The simplest variation is just whether a flower has all its parts. A complete flower is one that has all 4 whorls we've just talked about, the calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. An incomplete flower, well, you guessed it, it's simply missing one or more of those layers.
And a really common reason for a flower to be incomplete is because it's unisexual. This just means the flower has either the male parts, the stamens, or the female parts, the pistil, but not both at the same time. A male-only flower is called staminate, and a female-only one is called pistillate.
And plants arrange these unisexual flowers in some pretty fascinating ways. You've got monoecious plants like corn or pumpkins. They kind of play it safe. They have separate male and female flowers, but they're both on the same individual plant. Then you have dioecious plants like a papaya tree. They take it a step further. You have entirely separate male and female plants. One plant will only ever make pollen, and a different one will only ever make fruit.
So let's just recap the playbook here. A flower's entire goal, its reason for being, is reproduction. The non-essential parts, your petals and sepals, they're the advertisers and the bodyguards. The essential parts, the stamens and pistil, they do the direct work of making and receiving that pollen. And this elegant, super effective blueprint, it gets adapted in thousands of different ways.
And that brings us to a final thought. We've just spent all this time breaking down the flower as a functional biological machine. Every single part has a purpose, all aimed at survival. But if all of that color, that intricate shape, that incredible scent is just an elaborate mechanism to attract a bee, why does it also attract us? Why do we, who play no role at all in its reproduction, find it so incredibly beautiful? That's something to think about.